Okay, so we are going to start with the automation framework today. I will just give the overview of the automation framework and then we can start implementing that. Okay, so going with the first slide. So what is a framework? So what is automation framework actually? So framework is a basically collection of tools and processes that is working together to support the testing of any application. Collection of tool means what? Now in our project we are using the TestNG, we are using the Maven, and in future after project completion we are going to use the Jenkins as a CI tool, means continuous integration tool. Okay, so all the things are together is it is called as a framework. Okay, so it can we can integrate that with the various function like libraries, test data, and reusable modules. Okay, so now we are going to take the data from Excel sheet or any different data source, so that also we can integrate with the help of TestNG data provider, and we can use the test data there in our test cases. So all the things are combinedly called as a framework. Okay, so next slide, why framework is needed. Okay, so suppose we have written the code in this manner. Suppose I have written two test cases where I have to log in, I have to navigate to the particular page by clicking the link, and here also I'm doing the same thing. But you can see I have done the repetition of the code. Suppose I am just setting the Chrome driver here as well. I'm opening the Chrome driver, Chrome browser here, and I'm just putting this wait code as well here. And same for the opening of the URL. The same code is repeated here in the below test case as well. So this is again the redundancy of the code. We are just not reusing any function. So to avoid that, we can, if you create a function, we will just keep all the code in different function, and we will call that function whenever we are required at the test case level. Okay. So again for this driver.quit. So again we will create one method and we will use this method across all the test cases to quit the driver, to close the browser. Okay, these things are handled in the framework. So that is a reusability of the code. Okay. Then second, low cost. Of course, if you are reusing our code, so of course when we are next time we are writing the test cases, we only have to call this function that we have created earlier, and we can just reuse that. So it will just reduce our effort. So it's reducing efforts. That's why it's a result into the low cost, because it's taking less time to write our test cases. Okay, then third point is a minimal manual interference. Okay, so what is this means? Suppose in future our application got changed at some particular place. Suppose a few element got changed or deleted from the UI, or a new element added in the UI. So what we can do? We can just update that element in particular page, and that will be reflected everywhere whenever we are using that. So again, it's a minimal manual efforts there, and that's result into the improved efficiency. We don't have to make more changes and make the process tedious. We will simply make minor changes and our framework will work as it is. That's why we need a framework here. Okay, so next, types of frameworks. Okay, so basically there are three types of framework: data driven, keyword driven, and hybrid. Okay, so this is a global frameworks that's used in the industry. So mostly used framework is a hybrid one. Okay, so we'll go one by one for this framework. So what is a data driven, what is a keyword driven, and what is a hybrid framework? Okay, so next slide for the data driven framework. Now you can see it's a data file. Data file can be anything. This one yellow part. So it can be Excel, it can be SQL, it can be any CSV file, or any data source from where we can just put the data. So through our script, this is script part actually, automation script, through which we just pass the data to the application and we just take output. Okay, so this is output, and from data file again we are taking the input. What is the expected result? So we are just comparing the expected with the actual. If that is passing, the test case is passed. If that is not matching expect actual, then we can consider it as a test case is failed. Okay, so this is a very basic model of the automation framework, data driven framework. So now I'll just give the one example here. Now you can see our requirement is that suppose there is one login form having two fields, username, password. So requirement is that password should be of 8 character, Password should contain one camel case. Password should contain one small character, and it should be alphanumeric. Okay. So I will just create one data source. Suppose I'm just putting the data into Excel sheet like this way. This is my header, and I'm just putting the data like test user, then password pass12, then same for the different data. So in this way, I can just add multiple data here like this. And in expected result, I will just put the expected. What is my expectation? Okay. So simply it will just go for the first row. It will just enter the username test user. It will just enter the password pass12. And what is expected? This is a login page. This is expected. And what is actual? When our script get run, we will get the actual result from the UI. So we will simply compare this both the result, expected and actual. If that is matching, we can consider test case pass. Otherwise, test case is failed. So everything we are just driving our script based on this data. So that is called as a data-driven framework. And simply consider this data file is always external source. Means Excel, SQL, CSV, JSON, anything. It should be external. Okay, then moving to the next. Second is the keyword driven. I think one question I got. Ritesh asking, you need to differentiate the data by 3 specific names. Miss what, Ritesh?
Means, sir, you have used 3 data, right? Test
Yes.
user, test user, test user, and
Yes.
here password is pass, then again, then login fail. This is
Yes.
expected result, right?
Yes.
If you are saying that this is the sheet from where you are uh, taking the data, right?
Yes. Right.
So you need to specify this test user one or any of the name in the C part, so that code will go to that specific one and take, or else it will conflict, right?
No, it will not conflict. I will just execute this line first, then this second row, then third row.
Yeah, that's what means. You need to identify the rows with their different name, right?
No need actually. If you put this
Okay.
simply in some logic, it will simply pick first row, then second row, then third row. You don't have to worry
Okay,
about
we
that.
can do like that.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, yes,
okay,
right. We don't have to mention the row's name here. Okay, nothing.
okay,
It will simply iterate. This kind
okay,
of
got it.
thing again we are going to cover in the BDD part. So in BDD we can simply provide data like this only. We simply copy this data, paste it into the BDD framework, and it will simply execute for all the data. Okay,
Okay,
3 times. Means same test case will execute thrice in the BDD. Okay, that's a
okay.
different part. I'm just talking about data-driven framework right now.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Then second one is a keyword-driven. So keyword-driven is just an extension of the data-driven. Okay, so we can simply pass data here as well as some keywords here. Suppose we are just passing the keyword as a GM login. So it should indicate that our application should be logged in. Then again, if you are passing logout, then we are just providing instruction to code. Our application should be logged out. And again, we can just pass the data here, username, password, kind of thing. So this is just an extension for data driven, we can say. Okay, for this you can take this example only. I have just taken a screenshot of the Excel sheet. So this is a test case name, test case 01. Then based on keyword and the description is there. Suppose GM login to the Gmail. Then GM emails, it will just simply find out the number of emails that we have received today. And simple for the logout. In this way, it will just iterate, means it will just execute test case for test case 01 and test case 02 based on this keyword. For this, actually, we have to write if else condition in our code. Based on, suppose if I have written if GM login, then I should write a code to log in the application. In this way, we can write a code in the keyword driven. And actually, we are going to use a hybrid one. Okay, third, it's a combination of data driven plus keyword driven. So what in our framework, what we are going to do, we are just taking data from the test ng using the data provider from the, I will just prepare the Excel sheet now. So I will just write a code to take a data from Excel sheet. and I will just use that in our test case. Okay. And we will write our some functions. Suppose if I want to log in, I will just write a function login, logout, or suppose if I want to verify a particular table, so I will just write a function to verify table. Okay. So that again we will cover it practically. So I will just show you the practical what actually we are going to do in our framework. So this is our framework structure, framework architecture. So you can see there is a test automation framework in the middle. You can see it here. Okay. So here we simply write our whole code, means prerequisite, post-requisite, post condition, and then actual test case. And there will be some configuration file. Configuration file means what? Suppose if you want to execute test case with the different browser, we will simply provide a facility to provide the browser name, and based on that browser name, our test script will run on that particular browser. Again, if you want to execute our framework with the different URL with different application, that also we can configure that. Again, I will show you in practical again. At one place, we can just provide the URL, and only that URL will be invoked while executing the test case. So all the things are covered in this test automation framework part. Okay. So this test automation framework will interact with the TestNG. So we have covered TestNG as well. So it will simply makes our task easy. So TestNG have annotation at the data provider, and then different at before shoot, after shoot, before method, after method. That all be covered in the TestNG. Okay. And this TestNG will interact with the data source. Okay, by using this data provider annotation. And also it provides the extend test report as output when test case execution is done. Okay, so this is one part, and then again our test automation framework with is interact with the Maven to download dependency and plugin, and simply Maven interact with the Jenkins to integrate our code to the Jenkins pipeline to deploy our code, we can say. Okay, so this is one part. First, it will interact with the TestNG, then Maven, and third part is a Selenium WebDriver. It will interact with the Selenium WebDriver to open the browser and perform the actual testing, which is for the application under test. We can say UAT. So this will be our whole framework structure. So guys, any doubt here in this framework structure? Because this same framework structure we are going to implement practically. Why I'm telling this framework? Because you should know how actually it's working. That's why I'm just showing the high level diagram of the framework. Okay, fine. This is all about the framework, which is the only theoretical part. So practical we will cover. Okay, then yeah. Then element identification. The framework part is covered. So I'll just start with the practical. Before that, I will just go with this element identification, which is left from the last session. Okay, so element identification, yeah. So we can inspect the element in the Mozilla, Chrome, and IE, and we can simply find the XPath, or if you want to look at the element by ID, that partial text or link, class name, anything. Okay, so in the Mozilla, there are two inbuilt add-ons actually. We can just simply download that, Firebug or Firepath. By using this, we can directly get the XPath. But in some cases, it might not be efficient. So you should know how to create a XPath. Okay, that also I'll show this in this session. This is for the Mozilla, second one, the Firebug and Firepath. And for the Chrome, there is one selector sub. This is the most popular nowadays. So we can use selector hub. It will maximum time, 90% time, it will give the optimized XPath. So you can directly use that as well. Okay, so selection of effective XPath that I'm again going to show in the UI. Okay, so yeah, I'm just opening the Chrome. I'm opening one site, one testing site, and don't try to automate the Facebook, Gmail, the secured application. It will simply block you. Okay, just try with one demo application. I'll just inspect. Suppose I want to create an XPath for this click. I'll just right click on it, inspect. Now, if you don't know how to create an XPath simply, so very basic way, it is not recommended, but I'll just show you. Right click, copy XPath. Okay, I'm just copying this and just paste it in the Notepad++. So this is XPath that I have, that's actually working. I will show you how it works. Now you can see it is pointing to the right element now. Okay, but here if you can see, it is just providing the div, then div2, div3, h3a. Suppose in future the development structure got changed and suppose this div got vanished, so your XPath will not work in that case. Okay, so we have to avoid such things. You can just add this temporary for one time only, but never write XPath like this. Okay, so you can avoid this practice. So I will just show you another way by using the selector sub plugin. So I have already downloaded that in my system. So you can simply go here for the plugin. Extension. You can go to the more tools, extensions. You can simply search for selector sub. You can see it, selector sub. I have already downloaded, that's why it's showing option for remove. Otherwise, it will ask for the add. We can simply add it. It is for the XPath and CSS selector both. Okay. So you can simply download it, install it in a Chrome browser. You can use it. Now I will show you how to find the XPath by using selector sub. Suppose now I'm just hovering mouse over this click. Now here you will get that option selector sub. You can see it here on the right hand side. Okay. So again, I'm just hovering the mouse over click. Yeah. It's simply click. Now you can inspect that element. Now you can see whenever I clicked, I'm getting the XPath here. A normalized space click. So simply we can copy this XPath by using this copy shortcut, and we can paste it into our script. Okay. So second, it's a CSS selector as well. You can just, if you want to use CSS selector, you can just copy this and use that. Okay. So I'm going for the next element.
Can you repeat
Suppose,
this, please?
yeah. Diksha, yeah, tell me.
Yes. Can you repeat this part again?
Okay, yeah. Okay, so we have installed the selector sub now. Okay, so I will just simply click on this option, select element in the page to inspect it. Okay, just click it here, and I will just select the element which you want to create a XPath. I will just go for the text input now. Okay, it will simply create a XPath for me. I have not done anything. It will automatically create for me. Okay.
So it automatically shows the relative XPath and all these things.
Yes, 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 yes.
Okay.
It is developed by the Sanjay Kumar actually for the actually I personally made that person. So previously there was some another tool like a Cropath, but he's not supporting Cropath now. So this is a more advanced tool to create an XPath.
And this one is the latest one, right?
This
Just
is the
few
latest
months
one.
back.
Yes.
Yes, hardly 5 to 6 months ago, he released this in the market.
Yes. 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 Right.
Because earlier we need to used to give the XPath, then we need to get the results, correct?
Yeah. Actually, we can create our own XPath as well. This is a different. If you don't have this, you can simply create an XPath by your own. But you don't know how to create XPath, then at that time you can use this. But in some cases, this XPath might not be optimized.
Okay.
Okay. So in that case, you have to do some changes in your XPath. You should know how to change the XPath, how to create an XPath. This is the last option.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. For this, I can say this is for the new person which don't know how to create a XPath.
Okay, so through this we get the XPath, actual this one expression
Yes, yes, right.
of any element.
Yeah, of any
Right.
element. Yes.
Okay.
I'll just go inside this. I will just.
Lokesh, there was another option earlier, right? Like Firepath or Firebug, I believe.
Yeah, that's for the Firefox browser.
Okay, so it's specific for Fire
Yes, it's
for that
specific for
particular.
the browser. Yep, yep.
So is it so now also can we use that in that Firefox browser?
Yes, you can use
Or
that as well. Yes, you can use. You have to download the add-on, and you can simply use that like this way only. Okay. But basically, you should know how to create XPath. This is the last option. Suppose it is giving the complicated XPath and it is not working for you in the script. Sometimes it's passing, sometimes it's failing. So you should know how to create XPath manually. Then only go for this actually. It will just make a habit to copy XPath from this tool, but always make sure you should know how to create XPath. I will just give the tutorial as well. Just this is for the starting purpose. You should know how to create. This is the alternate option. Now I am just creating XPath for this text box. It is providing right, but if the UI is complex, so it might go wrong in some cases. In that case, you have to write your own XPath. Okay. So I will try to find out some complex website and then I will just show you the demo, how it can go wrong. Okay.
You can use the traveling sites. You will find dynamic XPath over here and some complicated XPath also.
Yes, yes, yes. I'll just try for the Go Bibo. Let me try this. This is just for the support. Don't rely on these tools. Okay. I'll just create a XPath for this image. No, not for this image. It's just providing data URL. In XPath, we should avoid the indexing, right? So I am showing the earlier XPath here. So this is indexing actually. We should not use this kind of thing in the XPath. This might go wrong in some cases if the development got changed. Let me try for some more things here. I will just give the example for this latter, guys. I'm not seeing the right example now. Let me try for these few things. Now you can see it data XPath. This element is inside the shadow DOM. We are not getting XPath for this. Okay. For such element, XPath won't support. Let me try for this as well. How to create XPath manually. I'll just inspect this element. Hotels in Tirupati.
So Yogesh, we can also go for other options as well, right? Like in some case we can use the CSS, or we can in
Yes,
some
yes,
case
yes.
we
You
can
can go
use
for
ID
CSS as well.
means.
Yep, yep. It's really not supporting. Not sure why. Inside the shadow DOM.
For this shadow DOM, I believe that XPath might work over here, but when you'll run the script, the
Mhm.
elements will not be located. For this, you will have to first handle the shadow DOM. Then inside shadow DOM,
Yep,
you will
yep.
be able to find it, right?
Yep, right. Fine. That's why it's not supporting the shadow DOM XPath here. Okay, fine. Okay. So this is just a tool. Just remember, this is just a tool. You can use this for the XPath creation, but don't rely on this tool, because in some cases it might they will just remove the support. Then what will you do in that case? So you should know how to create XPath there. Okay, I'm just giving the options to create XPath. Okay.
So Yogesh, can you also explain like for other options like CSS and name or ID or partial text? So we can use that as well.
Yes. So you can see here is ID. I will just go for this site again, simple one. I will just inspect few elements here. Let me go for another site. Okay, here we are seeing the text base, so we have to text, so we have to create locator by XPath only here in this case. So here we can create by using this class name. Okay, so while we are writing the XPath for this, we simply go here. I will just write code here, suppose by, you can see class name, and simply in double quotes I will pass the class name, this one, tree branch. Okay, and it will work for me. Okay, same for the other. Suppose now I'll just go for the link test. Suppose, yeah, link test. I'll just search for the link text here. Yeah, now you can see ID as well. Okay, so we can just identify locator by using this ID. Okay, so I'll just go for this ID like this, by ID, and in double quotes I will just pass the ID. So it will again work for me. Same for the other locator. Then this is a different thing, which look at some another elements. So you got these things actually by using class name, by using ID. This thing we can use here by using this directly providing the name. The only thing is we have to go for CSS selector in different way actually. Like XPath, we have to create a CSS selector. So for now CSS selector, I'm using this tool only. Suppose I have to create XPath for this input form. So in this way, we can simply copy this CSS selector and paste it here. But it's a very long now. Okay. Because this is a relative CSS selector. Okay. Yeah, in doubts here, guys. Actually, there is some syntax difference between this CSS and XPath. So I'm not using this CSS in my project because we are just preparing the use of XPath. The benefit of the CSS is that we can just traverse back and forth. Suppose in the DOM structure, suppose we are at here in this point. So if you want to go to the back, we can simply go back in that direction in the CSS selector. But in XPath, we can just go forward in this direction below. That's the difference between XPath and CSS selector. Okay, fine. Yeah. And one more thing, we can create a XPath in the in the Chrome and Firefox, but we cannot create a XPath in the IE. Okay, I will just show you the example. I'll just create one XPath here. I'm getting one of one, is correct one. Fine. Now here actually you can see we are getting relative XPath as a this body div this. This is not a correct XPath, so we cannot rely on this tool. That is a good example here. Okay, so I have created my own XPath that is not going to change in any case. Okay, suppose this is my XPath. So now I have to create XPath for this same option here. I'm using shortcut F12 to open this window. I'm just hovering this to the input form. Now here actually there is no window to write a XPath actually. We cannot write XPath here. But simply what we can do, we can simply open any website in the Chrome or Firefox. We can create XPath and we can use that XPath to execute this IE test cases, Internet Explorer test cases. Okay, so we cannot create XPath here. Okay, fine. There's any doubt here? Or shall I go with more example? Yeah, I think got three pings. Okay. Okay, Anurag has question, how is plugin based XPath different from the one displayed in the developers option? Plugins have capability to write perfect XPath actually, not perfect, but it's near about perfect because they have some logic here. Someone has written the logic here to create a perfect XPath. And when we are copying XPath from this, it will simply blindly go for these tags and attributes, and based on that, it will simply create a locator. Okay, suppose I want to copy the locator from here, copy and copy XPath. It will simply go for this DOM structure. It will look for that, and it will simply copy the tags, head, HTML. It will simply look for the hierarchy, and based on that, it will blindly create the locator. Okay, it will not give the optimized locator when we are using this developer option. In case of plugin, they have written some logic to reduce the length of that XPath, and the XPath will be in such a way that it will not be changed. Suppose there is some change in application due to new development. Okay, so first option, we should not use this. Right click, copy XPath. Then second, this is again not recommended. Sometimes it not give the perfect XPath. So you should know how to create XPath. still it is not working from your side, you can just go with this tool and copy the XPath, and you can just modify the XPath according to your own requirement. Okay, that's the answer for the Anurag's question. Okay. Okay, then Ritesh, it is better, should we know how to create dynamic XPath like sibling, preceding kind of, because we are because they are a bit complex to identify. Yes, we can write our own XPath by using this preceding sibling, following sibling as well, and same supported in plugin as well. If the UI is complex, we might get XPath which are using preceding sibling, following sibling, or parent, ancestor, that keyword. Okay, that also we'll try. Then what we can do, you can just simply give me the example for which you have to create the XPath. So I can create XPath for that, Ritesh. Okay. So we'll go for one or two options here in this website, and I will show how can create that XPath by using these words, preceding sibling, following sibling. Okay. Okay, so Shakti has pinged one website, w3scholars.com. Then can you show the XPath example for our website? Requirement is user needs to click try it yourself button present on that website. Okay, I will just open this website. Now click on try it yourself. Where is that? Yeah, this one. And for this I have to create XPath, right? So I'll right click on it, will inspect. If I'm getting text, simply I will go with text blindly. I will not think about it. Okay, so I'll just copy this. But if I'm not getting text, then I have to make a complex XPath there. A, because this text is not going to change. Yeah, but I'm getting 5 now. Okay, so we have to make this XPath more complex now. Okay, now we are getting 1 of 5, so it is not good. We can use this XPath. Okay, so first I will check for which I'm getting this perfect option. For first only I'm getting the right button in the DOM. Okay, I will just take for the second, very second. Okay, there is second as well. There is third as well. Okay, there are I think 5 buttons on the UI. This is a 4. This is a 5. I'm just minimizing this window. I think there are 5 buttons on the UI. Yes, there are 5 buttons. That's why I'm getting 1 of 5, right? Yep, that's right then. Okay, so who asked that question? Shakti, so is this your requirement? Because there are 5 buttons, try it yourself. So I'm getting this 1 of 5 actually, or 5 of 5.
Yes, Yogesh. If user needs to call only the first button under the HTML block, how XPath would prioritize in this
But
case?
you should know the proper requirement. Basically, I will just go for the first. Okay. So
Yeah.
there are multiple ways. I will just tell you. I'm just opening this. Yeah. So there should be some identity. Now it's a HTML example. For that, there is one button. Try it yourself. Okay. Then I'm going for the second. This is a CSS example. Then for it, it's a different button. Try it yourself again. So what is different? The block name. This is a different actually for every block. So I will just identify locator based on this. So I should know for which block I need write yourself button. Okay. So if I need for this HTML example, I will just include this HTML example in my XPath. And based on that, I will just find out the XPath for this. Okay. So I'm just trying to find out this. Now, what I will do, I will simply look for this HTML example in the DOM to track this button. Try it yourself. So this is the button. I know I got it. Then I will just look for that, not this. Yeah, this HTML example. You can do it. Yeah. Okay, now I am seeing HTML example here, and for this HTML example I need a button. Okay, so what will I do? I will first create locator for this HTML example, and with this reference HTML example I will just create a locator for this try it yourself button. Okay, so this locator is ready. I will just keep it aside. Now I will create locator for this HTML example. Simply I'll delete this to avoid the confusion. Okay, then what was the tag I missed? I think it was, yeah, it was h3 header 3. Yeah, text. Okay, I got one locator, one of one. That's a perfect. Now I have to search for this button. Okay, so now if you see the hierarchy, I cannot go down here directly in this division. Okay, so I have to go to the parent. This is a parent. Parent for the h3 is a div. So I will just go to the parent by using this simple dot dot. Okay, slash double dot. It will just go to the immediate parent. Okay, and then I have to again come to this div. No, not div, or I have to come to the anchor tag here now. Okay, so simply I will just put slash a. So now where am I? Where is the focus? Is on a. Okay, for a already I have created locator, but I will again type it in a bracket. I will just put at the rate, not at the rate. It's a text because it's a function, and in single quote I will just put this name. Try it yourself. So now you can see I have created locator for this button with reference of this HTML example with header. Okay, now suppose if I want to create locator for the second, try it yourself. Okay, so simply what will I do? I will simply copy this text from DOM or UI, that's the same thing, and you simply paste it here in the XPath. Okay, now see it's pointing to the second try it yourself button. In this way we can create dynamic locator. For example, we can create a simple method for this, and we can simply pass this name according to your requirement. Suppose if you want to click on try it yourself of this CSS example, we can simply change this name, and we can use this same locator multiple times. Okay, is this clear?
Yes,
We are not
Yogesh.
clear about this dot dot parent. Yeah, Diksha, commit again. Diksha, is it clear for you?
Yeah, it's clear for me, but even second way we can go by the index number, is it?
No, that's why I said don't go for index. Index is the last option. If you're not getting index by any chance, so then only you can go for the index. Otherwise, prefer this way only. Okay, but suppose in some case, if you're looking for the first one, that's fine. You will get the first. But suppose this block got shifted down, and before this, some another block came. In this case, your test case might get failed, right? Because you are expecting this try to yourself button should be clicked for the HTML example, but it is clicking some another button.
Okay.
So always prefer this option. Index is the last option. I will just tell the exam index as well. That's fine. I'm just copying this XPath, just keeping it aside again. Okay, so now I'm again getting 5. So for indexing, I will simply do this. I will simply put round braces start and the end, and I will just put the index here. This is the last option. I can do that. If I do make it 2, it will just point out the second. This button. Okay. But this is the last option. Again, I'm telling.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Can you show one more example of creating the XPath? Now you created the hierarchy. Okay. So like how to create again, because it was little. I think we need. Like how to again create the XPath for long process. Like it was now HTML example, correct? Now can you show for the downer window like CSS one again how to create the parent and all?
This one.
Yeah.
Actually, I have already created a locator that is supporting for all the buttons now. This one. This will support for all the buttons. Only we have to change this name, this text actually. It will support for all the buttons. for sure. Now simply I'm just replacing with new this JavaScript example. It will just locate this button. Try it yourself this for the JavaScript example. Okay.
So you created h3 tag with text of the heading, and
Yes.
then double dot you have used because there are parent, there are many
Yes.
child tags.
Yeah, just wait. And now I'm here. Okay. So simply think I need this button, but I need some reference by which by taking that reference I should get this button. Now I have one reference. By using this text I can get this button. Okay. So this is identity of this button. This is a button of JavaScript example. If I go for the another, this is a button of the CSS example, right? So I should find out this button with the reference of some different element. Okay. So I'm just taking reference of this header. Okay. So this header is present here in the h3 tag, but I cannot write XPath which are in the which is in the this format actually. Just this is just below h3 and a in same line. Okay. I cannot go for this. I have to go to the parent and then I can go down. That's why I just go for this h3 JavaScript example. Then I just moved for the parent, immediate parent div. And then I just again came down.
Okay, so moving to immediate parent is slash double dot backward.
Yeah, this immediate means single slash. Yeah, if I'm putting double, it will just search for the many parents, multiple parents in the top, like this way, in this diagonal way. Okay. Now in this case, there is no parent. I think I'm not seeing any parent here. Let me minimize this. Again, yeah, for immediate parent, simply use single. It will just move one step behind. Okay, above, not behind, above.
Okay.
Just one thing over here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So first, you have used the relative XPath and the absolute XPath, right?
Mm-hmm.
So before this XPath, if you can tell about the relative XPath and the absolute XPath, so this slash will become clear to everyone. So why this front slash is used, what is the use of this, and what is this double slash? So it will.
Okay.
So it will be much clear, right? Number 1 point. Next point, suppose you were telling a few minutes back that if it gets changed, the order gets changed, right? It will not work if you are using the indexing, right?
Index, right?
Okay, you absolutely, I agree with that. But however, the thing is that if suppose this the reference you are taking, the parent reference you are taking, it might also get changed, right?
No, then in that case our script will fail, and we can fix that simply.
Eventually, if there is a change, you need to change it. If there is a no change in the shadow DOM, suppose this is under a shadow DOM, right? Then we will have to change. Even if you use index, something like that, it won't take the script won't run, right? So indexing, the basic question is, if I using indexing right at the initial stage only, then where is the problem? Because ultimately the script will fail. Even if you don't use indexing, if these elements got changed, eventually it will also fail, right?
But based on this name, we can simply identify for which we have created the locator. But when we are providing the index, we are not sure for which we have created the locator. It might create a confusion for sub new joinees, for example. We are the new on the project.
Okay.
So that's why we are just not referring to the index.
Got it. Got your point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So this is a relative path. We are not using the absolute path. Absolute path starts searching locator from this DOM root actually. This one. If you want to create a absolute path, it will just, we have to write a like head, then we have to look for the div, then we have to look for the different tags present in this DOM structure. So we can start with the single slash. Okay, this way it should work. And then when we are using the relative XPath, then in that case, if you using this double slash, it will simply search for this h3 in the whole DOM like this. It will simply search for the h3 in the whole DOM. That is the benefit of this relative XPath. And we should always go for the relative XPath. No, we should not use absolute XPath, because it will just traverse the DOM from the root, from this head. Okay, and it will just take more time to identify our element. Okay, for make the our XPath relative, we should go with the double slash. Okay.
Okay, so if you can control Z it and come back to the previous set, yes. So
Yes.
in this, after the text method with JavaScript example, you have used one single slash, right, and a double dot, and
Yeah.
then again a single slash. From
Yes.
here, you wanted to mean that I need to go to the immediate next, right?
Yes. Yes.
Using
Immediate
the
next or immediate previous. Yeah.
immediate next or immediate previous, right? So
Yep.
here we are using next, using
Yes.
the
Yes.
absolute XPath, right?
Right.
Now
Absolutely.
here we are traversing next, not in the whole shadow DOM, but the immediate next in the
Yes.
immediate next element, right?
Yep. Yep.
And
Right.
and then we are again using the same thing. A dot text method. A is the anchor tab, and this is the method, right?
Right. Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So
Instead of
it's a good practice using a relative and absolute XPath in a single syntax or in a single locator.
no, this is basically this is not absolute. Absolute is when we are putting the single slash at the start. Okay, now I'm using this double slash at the start. That means it's a not a absolute, it's a relative.
Yes, getting your
Think
point.
about the starting double slash or single slash, not
Yes.
this inner one,
Yes.
because it is not going to the root actually. It is just searching this here. When actually we are getting the XPath for this JavaScript example here, it is just searching here. It is not going to the root. When we are going to the root, in that case only we can say our XPath is absolute. Okay, so always look for this starting. Okay.
Okay.
When it's double, then it's a not absolute, it's a relative XPath.
Okay.
Okay. And this double slash, we can just replace it with the parent as well. Parent is a keyword here. But syntax is different. That's why I shown a simple syntax to just put the double dot here. Okay.
Okay. So what if I use double slash, double dot, and then again a double slash?
It will work, but in some case it might traverse some long in the. I will just try that as well. I'll show you. I will just put double slash here. Double slash. Same. It's working fine. But I know I have to go to the immediate parent. That's why I just use the single. It might, in some cases, it might go wrong. That's why I'm just preparing. When if I know I have to go to the immediate, then I'm just using the single. That's it.
Okay. So,
So does it mean like going to immediate means using single slash?
Yep. Yep. Right. Perfect.
Okay. What this particular portion, suppose this text method, right? After that, we can tell people that yeah, use the text method. So what is this technically called? This single slash or double slash or double dot? What is this technically called? This portion, this little portion.
It's you're talking about this, right?
Yes.
Double
Yes.
slash,
Just
double
yes.
dot.
Yes. Yes. What is this technically called?
We can simply, that's a method actually. Now
Okay,
we are
it's a
using this
method.
double dot. We can just simply put the parent method. It's a method of the XPath.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Okay.
There is some syntax for this. I will just try that syntax here. Parent. Let me try. I just forget the syntax of the parent keyword. Let me try, but it should be look like this only. Parent double quote.
If you can just tell what you are trying to do, which method you're, maybe I can give.
No, I'm just using the parent one. Parent keyword now. Parent method here.
Okay, the parent child.
Yes.
And the inner child you were talking about?
I'm talking about, I'm just at the JavaScript example. I just want to move to the division now. Division one, parent. Now it's working. Yeah, fine. I think I missed some syntax. Then I will just go down here using a, and I will just use @ not @ it's a method. So text is equal to, try it yourself. Okay, by using this keyword also we should get the parent locator. Okay, so this is an alternative way. Instead of dot, we can just replace it with the parent method.
Got it.
Okay. Okay, fine. So moving to the next question. Okay, so Karan, it will be helpful if you know how to write dynamic XPath. Okay, dynamic XPath means what? Simply we have created this locator and we are just changing the name here, for which we need a button that we can call as a dynamic locator. Karan. Okay, so same locator will work for multiple buttons, but only we have to change this text. So for that particular block, this button will be located. Okay. So in our framework, we will just create these dynamic methods, dynamic locators to support this dynamic locator. Okay. Okay. So Nagendra has one question, sir. We use for class. Not getting Nagendra. What is your question for class? Means can we can use the class name as well in the XPath if you want. I think that's your question then. Instead of this text, we can go for this class name W3 button, write button.
No,
That's
sir, I
also fine.
just asking that dot dot is used for class. For
No.
searching class.
Dot also not for class. It is simply navigating to the parent, immediate parent.
Okay.
Parent means this. I will just explain this div. Parent for this div is this div. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Diagonally. And
Yes,
for
sir.
this div, this div is a parent. Then again, this div is a parent. And suppose I will just tell you this div and this div are siblings. Okay. So for this div, the below div is a following sibling. This div. And for this div, the above one is a preceding sibling. So these are some methods here in the XPath.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, we use double slash for navigating parent division.
Double slash is not navigating to the parent division actually. Again, you are confused here. Actually, I have used a parent, that's why it is navigating backward. Okay, it is going to the previous parent, previous division. I will just delete this now. Now I will just delete this again. This is my XPath. Okay,
Yes,
for
sir.
JavaScript example. Now I want to go to this division. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So that's why I just written this double slash. Whenever I want to navigate forward or backward, I simply use the slashes there. Okay. If I want to navigate only immediate backward or forward, so I will just use a single one. If I want to navigate to the multiple, suppose I am here I am. I want to navigate to this division. Okay. So I will just use the double slash.
Okay, sir.
Okay. And then I will write some parent or if you want following sibling, preceding sibling. According to that, I will write a code.
Then sir, dot dot. Here we use dot dot. What it is used for?
It's for parent.
Okay, sir.
Now I will show you another example. Okay, now you can see if I use single dot dot, that means it will just go for the immediate parent. Okay, this is the one,
Yes, sir.
one of one. Okay, but now I'm using the double slash. Now it will look for all the parents which are present for this H3. So now this is I will just go again here. Now you can see this is also coming. This is going showing the wrong XPath actually. So if you want to go for the immediate parent, so you always go for the single slash. Okay, now it's showing one of one. Okay, I'm not sure why it is showing this cell as a parent. Okay, that's fine.
Okay, so basically, the thing is that all things are being done by this double slash and forward slash.
Yep.
This double slash means that anywhere in the DOM, right?
Yes, anywhere.
And the single slash means
immediate.
Standing in the current position. You are in the JavaScript example position, right? And you are using a single slash means
Yep.
it will just traverse next and the
next
double
or previous. Yep.
Next or previous depending upon the next operator, that is double dot, right?
Yes,
so double dot
right.
is the parent, so it will move to the parent in its parent, the JavaScript example parent, not in the whole shadow DOM where this JavaScript example is available.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
What if Yogesh, like you give us the syntax for all these things, so it will be easy to remember and it won't create any confusion?
Not today. I will just give the syntax tomorrow. Okay, I will just note it down. I will just make a document and I will share with you. Okay.
Yes, sure. Yeah. Thank you.
Sir, if we use single dot, then what will happen?
No, there is not supported actually. It's not supported.
Okay.
It's supported. It is just pointing to itself only. Don't use single dot. Double dot, it's for parent. Remember this. You have to remember few things, guys. There may be multiple operations which I have not performed, but I am just telling you the frequently used methods and operations in the XPath.
So why we use that slash
Which one?
dot slash dot?
Because I want to navigate to the parent. Suppose
Okay.
I want to find out the locator for this. Try it yourself. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Initially I have tried, but I was getting the 5 locators, but I need only one with reference of the JavaScript example.
Okay.
Okay, but the JavaScript example and this try to yourself button are in different hierarchy. It is not in
Yes.
same hierarchy. Okay, so simply I will look for this locator, then I will just navigate to the parent, and from parent I will just go diagonally down this way.
Okay, sir.
Okay, then only I will be able to find out. Always we can just navigate diagonally in finding the XPath. Just remember this part again. It can be forward, it can be backward. So forward means this way, backward means above this way.
So, sir, first we write XPath for that JavaScript example.
Yes.
Then we go to his parent class. Then we'll use locator for
This.
again.
Yep.
This part. Try it for yourself. Okay.
Yes. Because we cannot navigate directly from this to this without using this parent.
Because this try it for yourself belongs to that JavaScript example.
Yep.
Okay, sir. Now it's clear. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Sir, Anurag this side.
Yeah.
So, sir, if there is a website that, for example, try it yourself, this button is the parent directory as well, sir. For example, in some website, we can see that the button is present and we have to click on that. For that, what should be the example of XPath?
Can you tell me the example website?
Sir, for example, let me post it. Like, sir, in a website, if we are about to log in, we have to click on the login button. I'll just post it there.
In this W3 score is in this. Okay.
Yeah, sir. Yeah, we can use this login button. Yeah.
Okay, fine. I'll just open this website. Simply learning. Okay, so you have to create XPath for this login, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll just inspect this. Where is login button now? I think it's hidden somewhere now. Fine. Yeah, here actually there is some space. NBSP, non-breaking space actually. So I'll just try to create XPath here by using this. Simply I will create locator like this. Text. Now let me check if it is pointing or not. Where is button? Yeah, I think it's pointing to somewhere else. So there is some non-breaking space. To remove this, there is some more syntax. Actually, there is some more operation I have to perform. So I'll just create a XPath by this class name here in this case. I'll just use @ class and I will just check if I'm getting the single element here. Yep, I'm getting the single element.
Yes, sir. Sir, can you repeat it once again from the class part?
Yeah, don't think about it is a class, it is a name. Simply, only we are using this text. Suppose there is some text in the black color. Suppose this sign up, sign in. So for this, we are using the text method, text and then braces, round braces. And for all other things, we are using the syntax @ class, and we are just simply providing the class name. Or simply if you want to go for another method, suppose this href is equal to JavaScript. This is unique. This is not unique now, so I'm not using that. If that is unique, simply you can go for the href as well. So
Okay,
simply add that href, and you have to put simply this href link. In this case, we cannot use because it's not unique. So you can see here also JavaScript void 0. Again, we are seeing for multiple links. So it's not unique.
So this is relative type of XPath.
It's a relative. Yes, we are using double slash. It's a relative.
But sir, I know only 6 to 7 relative XPaths: ID, then name, then link, then partial link, kind of. I never read this class one.
Let me show you here. Now you can see it here by class name,
Okay.
by ID. Forget
Okay,
about this part actually. I'm
we are
creating
using
XPath now.
CSS selector, right? So instead of writing class, you can use this CSS selector over there.
No. Instead of I can, if I know the class, I will simply go for this class name, and I will just simply copy this class name. This one. I will simply paste it class name here. Dot. I will just perform some action here. A missed bracket. Now I'm talking only about the XPath. Okay. So there is alternate way. If you want to use the class name in this way, you can use that. But your
Okay.
framework should be consistent. Either you go for the XPath, only use two things. Okay. Use ID and XPath. Don't go for class name and other things. So again, it will
But-
create a confusion for you.
But sir,
So
in this case, we don't have anything. So that's why we did use class, right?
Yes, we can use class. Yep. You should
So in
be
this kind
use
of
unique
scenario,
thing.
we can use.
Yep. Okay, but class developer can change class name again. Okay, it might happen. So due to unnecessary thing, your code might break. So always, in that case, always go for this kind of thing, the text or href or different thing.
And sir, I have one more questions. Like sometimes what is happening if we are running any code, then what is happening, like dynamically XPath got changed in every run. Then in that case, what we need to do?
Dynamically, XPath got changed because you might have created XPath like
In
this.
every run.
No, then we have to look for why it is changing and what are the stable thing. Based on that, we can create XPath. Okay, suppose for example, if you have created XPath like this, I'm just putting the hypothetical example to that copy XPath. Suppose in any case, developer deleted this due to, of course your test case will get failed. And suppose this div again got changed. Again, of course your test case will get failed. So you should not create this kind of locator. This is again, so you can see it's a division 1. In division, it will look for division 2. Again, it will look for division 4, sorry, A4. So you should not go for this kind of locators. So you should look for the stable thing which are not going to change. And based on that, you can create locator. You can just tell me the example where actually your test case is failing. I can just give the best XPath there. Ritesh.
Sir, I don't have that website, but I did saw that in every run the XPath got changed. So I got some alternative. And
So
that
always, and most probably just go for the text-based locator. Text-based means what? This is a text actually. Join as author. This is text. Sign up. Login. This text will change very rarely. So you can just create locator based on this text. Okay. So it will not change. If it is changing, then it will affect the UI as well. So it can be defect in that case if it is changing on the UI.
Okay. And sir, one more question I have in that W3 school website. Yeah. So if you are taking this HTML example, right? Suppose if we have this expand button, that Chevron button available, when you are clicking that, then only you can see this field. Okay.
Which one?
Go down, sir. A bit go down.
Sir, you can check the menu button. It has a drop down option.
Yeah. Just wait, sir. Just wait. You can see this JavaScript example part, right?
Yeah, this one.
We can see that this part is already here. We don't have to click on any button so that we can see this part, right?
Yes.
But if suppose there is a expand button over here, okay, if you are clicking there, then only you can see this field. So if we are directly using that text and then you are taking that backslash sign and dot dot, you're taking that example, right?
Mhm.
So if we are directly doing that, will it select this one, or the test or the machine continuously searching for that JavaScript
Your test
example
case
and
will
it got
fail
failed?
actually. First, you have to click on the expand button and then only you have to select the option.
Okay.
Of course, the whichever thing we can do manually by your hand, that only can be done in the automation. Okay. Automation is not a magic, so we have to do in that way.
Okay, sir. And sir, one last question. Is there any chance for changing this H3? Like,
Yes, if you suppose, for example, your this tag is changing frequently, simply put this as a star. It will accept anything. This is also acceptable.
so how it will select, like identify which one needs to be selected?
Based on this text, this is a text we have
Okay.
provided. Okay. So
Okay,
in
okay.
some cases you might get, if you are using star, in some cases you might get this multiple time. So in that case, you should not go with the star. Okay. But I know this text is unique on my UI. So simply go for the star. So that's again good practice.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. Thank you. So now again,
One more thing.
yeah.
Yeah, if you can see this class name over here, it has got multiple spaces or sometimes with a hyphen, right?
Where you are talking about?
This div class, which you are currently showing. Div class, the highlighted in yellow.
Yes, yes. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
So, see, there are lots of either spaces or this hyphen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So have you ever encountered any issue with that? Because sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work.
No, no, no. Because this class name is provided by the developer.
Yeah, yeah.
So if developer changes that, then only your test case will get failed.
No. Yeah, I'm getting your point, but I'm telling that suppose it is not getting changed, and we don't know that it will change or not, right? For the time being, if sometimes what happens, this W3/height, right? W/small, this type of class name doesn't work or don't work. Have you ever encountered it?
No, actually, no. It will work every time actually. If it is working first time, it will work every time. It will not fail because of this issue.
Okay.
Okay. So I will recommend always go for the text specs locator, which is more stable. Yeah.
So for writing XPath, for good practice, so we always use the method like test. So our code might not be affected like using class ID, because ID and class can be changed, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Always go for method like test, right?
Yep, yep. Right.
Okay,
Text specs locator. Yeah.
Thank you.
Because in some classes, I think in React, if your development is in React, okay. So in that case, your class will be dynamic, and it will not be readable format. So in that case, you should always go for the text specs locator.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So in every case, if you go with the text specs locator, there is no issue. Absolutely, that's a global practice. You can go with this one.
And sir, if the XPath is dynamically changing in every run, then can we call it as a bug or a feature?
We cannot call as a bug or a feature. Actually, we have to create a stable locator there, stable XPath there. So we can create, of course.
Yeah, we can create, but like that is not a bug and even not a feature. Then what is that?
So you must see what is changing in the XPath and which are the stable things there. And only based on the stable thing, you have to create XPath. Okay, suppose this class name is changing frequently. So ignore that. Don't go for this class name. Look for the stable thing which is present on the UI, and based on that, create the XPath. That's the solution only. So you have to give me the example. Based on that only, I will just tell you which things you have to consider as a stable and which thing you can just ignore, because that's changing.
Suppose I'll give you like, I cannot give you the website because even I don't know, but I can tell you what is happening over there. Like what is happening? Suppose there are 3 fields. Okay, name, first name, suppose there are any conclusion type of thing. Okay, so there are 3 fields. If you are selecting first one, we have a comment part. Then in the second one, again, we have a comment part. And third one, we have a comment part. And every comment part, there is a different name for that. Okay.
Okay.
So when we are running any of them by selecting the name, okay. So what is happening that time only that time the machine started searching, and sometimes it did taken, okay, and
Okay.
sometimes it got failed. Then when we inspected that again, because we got to know that this particular line we got the fail thing, right? So
Okay.
we again inspected that, and we got to know that that name got changed. Okay, that
Okay. Fine.
so that time only we got to know that it is changing. Means in every run it is changing. So we
Okay.
can definitely do write the different style of XPath, right? But
Mhm.
in the case if we are going that way, then what will happen? Like I just wanted to know why that is happening.
So, can you
Is
tell me
that a
the format?
security purpose thing or kind of?
Can you tell me the format in which you are writing the XPath, just based on text or based on class or based on
No,
some
it's a simple relative XPath, sir. I
simple
did.
relative XPath means simple means what? You are just starting with the div and you are just writing some
How
class or
we are writing a relative XPath, that backslash, then star, then bracket opens, at the rate, then tag name, then equals to, then the name, whatever the exact name of that tag name, right?
then
We
your XPath spelling means at least you are putting tag name, right? So tag name is changing. That you can say that.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, okay. So suppose in last case, if you are not able to find the XPath, in that case, what you can do, you know that's a text box. Okay, I will just go for one text box. I will just tell you the syntax there. Here I am not seeing text box. Then in that case, you can go with the indexing. That's the last option. Let me try for the text box. Yeah. Now suppose there are multiple text box. Now it's a 1 year. We should know for the text box, the tag is an input. Attribute can be
See,
anything
sir,
actually.
you can see the ID is new button, right? And
Yeah.
if you are running this, the ID button got changed.
So don't
Then
use the ID. Don't use the ID. Simple.
yeah, I can means the alternative I have. Okay, I can
Hmm.
use different thing to locate that.
Huh.
But why this is happening? I just wanted to know that.
Because
Because
ID is dynamic. In some development, ID is dynamic. So in that case, we should prefer not to use ID.
okay.
I will just tell you the example here in the website itself. There is an example in website.
But sir, in many cases, in many of the like deliverables I saw, and even I got to know that there are many of the script
Hmm.
means they are maximum in the maximum time they are using ID only.
No, no, it is not recommended that you should use ID. ID is if you are using by ID in the script here. This one by ID and is providing ID. The execution will be more faster as compared to XPath. But in some
Okay.
cases, if your ID is not working, simply go for the XPath like this. Now you can see, I can create XPath for this.
Mhm.
Just observe. Okay. Now you can see ID start with FE. Okay. I'm just refreshing this page. Again, inspecting this element. It got changed to ID is 72. Okay. So in
Yes,
this
sir.
case,
Yes.
I will not use ID at all because I know it is going to change next time. So simply I will go with this but class name, or simply I will go with this text, or simply I will just use this XPath is equal to 1. This is again the attribute here. Okay. If I'm getting unique path by using these attributes, so I will just go for that. I will not use ID. And don't think why it is changing. It's a development part. They have made it dynamic. That's it.
Okay, sir. Okay, got it.
Okay, fine. I think two more questions there. I missed some questions. I'm just reading that again. Yeah, Rajesh, you can drop up. Thank you.
Sir, Anurag this side. Hello.
Yeah, yeah.
Sir, what about when there is an image file that we have to click? For
Yeah, we
example,
can.
that in Simply Live website, the logo of the website. For example, I am at some other page and I want to go back to the home page, and that needs by clicking on the image file or the logo of that website.
Okay.
So For that, what would be the path?
We will simply, don't think about it's a text box, checkbox. We have to create locator in similar way that I showed you.
Yes, sir.
So I'll simply go for this W3 school. It's an image, right?
Yes, sir.
I just inspect this. Format is same everywhere. Now you can see only this tag is changed to I. Okay. In some cases, it's a IMG image. Okay. Simply,
Yes,
I will
sir.
just put the I here. Before that, I will just copy the class name. Okay. So I will simply start with the // I @class, and I have copied the class name. I will just paste it here. Okay. Simply, it will just give the locator. That's it. Don't think about it can be anything. So you have to create XPath in similar way. This way only. So only changes that this tag name will get changed and this attribute will get changed. This one. Yeah.
Okay. So, sir, that means that for every different thing, for example, for image file, for text, we have to start with different headers.
Can
For
you repeat?
example, sir,
Yeah.
for initially you were using H3 and then you used A, and for image you used I. So we have to use different.
Yes, because it's given here only itself in DOM. I'm not
Yes.
I'm not biting it. It's simply given in I here. I don't know what is the DOM structure. I will simply inspect it here. I will just see it in DOM. Now I'm seeing I here. You can see it here. Okay.
Yes.
So this I'm using it here. Then I'm using this class name. This class actually FA logo. Okay. I just
Yes.
special it here. It's completely depend on the DOM structure. Which tag you have to use and which attribute you have to use.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it can be anything. Don't think about that part. Okay, so again I'm going to the chat window. So Mayuri has one question // it is immediate parent then sibling. Then for sibling, how can we write XPath? Mayuri, can you unmute and talk to me directly?
Yes, hi, sir.
Yeah.
If there is in a field, there is sibling, like you can say there is a immediate parent, we can write dot dot and slash. So if there is a sibling field like that, so how can we write that?
Yes. I'm just trying for that only. I will just find out the one locator here, one web element, then I will just create XPath for that by using following sibling.
Okay.
I'm not getting any option with this following sibling. Yes, you can see this learn HTML and HTML reference. These are the following sibling A and A tag. It's in same line, okay, vertically. So if I want to find the locator of this HTML reference by using this reference learn HTML, so I will simply create locator here like this. Learn HTML. Okay, now I have created an XPath for this. I'm getting 2 XPath here, 1 of 2. Then I'll just go for the second. I'll just look. Yeah, second is correct one. Okay, fine. Then with reference of this element, this A, I'll just look for this A. So what will I do? I'll simply put single slash. I will just put following sibling. Put double colon. Then I will just look for the A tag again. Now it is giving 11. Okay. So this is, I will just cut it. I will just look for the, I'm just getting 1 of 2. That's why I'm getting 11 at next time. So I will just pick this problem first. So okay, so I will again take a reference of something. Okay, so
Take the reference of the text.
No,
This
text
text
is same in both the cases. You can see learn HTML. Here also learn HTML. Okay.
No, I'm talking about the language for building web pages.
Okay. language of building the web pages, and here it should be different. Then yeah, perfect. Yeah, based on that we can create XPath for these two.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. This you should identify actually what is the difference between these two, and then only you will able to resolve the problem. So I'll just create XPath for this P now. Based on that, I will create XPath for this learn HTML and HTML reference. P, sorry, it's a P. Not it's a text. Again, I'm seeing this P and A in same line, so I'll just consider it as a following sibling now. I'll just try if it is working. Following sibling.
So Yogesh, is this following sibling a keyword that we have to use? Like
Yes. Not keyword, actually we can call it a method. Okay, this following sibling. Following hyphen sibling. So when we are using following sibling, you can see P and A are in the same line. Okay, this H1 also. H1, P, this A are all in same line vertically. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's why I use this following sibling.
Okay, so they are under the same parent, right?
Yeah, they are on the same parent. Perfect. Yeah, this due parent.
Yeah.
Yep. That's why I'm using following sibling. So now I have used this following sibling, and it is just pointing to. I'm just getting locator for 2 actually, 1 of 2. Okay. So I'll just see what 2 locators I'm getting here. So first is this HTML reference, not this. First is learn HTML, and second is the HTML reference. Okay. This you can see because there are 2 following siblings now.
Okay. So
Okay.
same for the preceding sibling, right?
Yep. Same for preceding sibling as well. You have to use the preceding word here. Preceding hyphen sibling. That's it. Okay. Now it's not work because I have not written the correct XPath here. Okay. This way you can find out the locator.
Yeah. Okay.
Then again, one more is there, ancestor. You can use ancestor. It will look for the grandparent as well. No, there is no ancestor. I think for this, I'll just create XPath for this.
This HTML reference, it is twice in the DOM. This text HTML reference.
No, it's once only.
Once only. Then we can use the simple tag. Partial text or partial link text, right?
Yes, we can use. No,
yes,
but
so
always go for the only 2 things. Is it easy to maintain? You don't. You cannot use all the things, all the locator strategies like class name, that partial link, all the things.
Yes.
Just use only 2. Basically, ID and XPath. You can go for all. That's not an issue, but it's again depend on your requirement.
But so if I can see that this HTML reference is the unique one, so I should use it.
Yeah, you can use it. That's fine. Perfect. You can use it. But it might happen this HTML this link present somewhere again in the DOM, so it might point to the wrong location.
Yeah, but got your point. But I'm not bothered about the DOM right now, right? Because I can see clearly this HTML reference is a unique one.
But
Correct.
you can see HTML reference is not a unique one, right? Tags or yeah, it's unique one, right?
Yes, this
fine.
HTML reference. So
Yep,
you can just use the not XPath nothing, just / partial link text or link text and HTML reference.
Yep, you can use. Yeah. Actually, there are multiple ways. It's depend on you how you want to implement.
Yes,
that.
no, you were searching for XPath. No, we should go for XPath when there is complications.
No. Actually, I'm giving the example of the preceding sibling. That's why I written this. Okay, preceding sibling, following sibling. That's why I written this example. Or else we can directly go with this href. That's fine. That's perfect. Okay, fine. So what are the more questions? I think questions are done. Okay, one question is Ritesh from Ritesh. If there is a save run button before this part, so will it directly select the locator or will it get fail? So Ritesh, what is this question? You have put in the chat window.
Sir, you already given the answer.
Okay, given. Okay, fine. Okay, so I think I am done with the questions. Okay.
Yes.
Fine, then this is done. Okay. Now from next lecture, we are going to implement the POM actually. It's a page object model and with the page factory, because page factory is the page factory by default implement the page object model. So we'll actually write the code, we'll write actual test cases, and we'll try to execute that based on framework, and we will just keep it more robust and more optimized. So we will support that for the different browser as well and different URLs as well. If you change the URL, we should not change our code at different places. Okay, so for today I'm done. So any questions regarding this, you can ask me now. We have more 20 minutes, guys.
So Yogesh, can you explain a little bit on